Hey there, and welcome to U Talk. We connect with amazing people from across Canada and ask them about their stories, passions, and experiences. I'm your host, Ryan Funk. When you live in Winnipeg or Brandon, sometimes you forget what's going on in rural Manitoba. Beyond the Perimeter is an event for just that, letting newcomers and immigrants know about the opportunities and communities outside of the city. Here's MANSO's Valeria and Regional Connections Steve tell us more about this virtual event taking place November 2nd and 16th.
So I'm Steve Reynolds. I'm the Executive Director at Regional Connections Immigrant Services, and we provide settlement services to newcomers in Winkler, Morden, Altona, and Dauphin, Manitoba. We have the 4 offices.
My name is Valeria Castellanos. I am the Program Manager at MANSO. MANSO is the Manitoba Association of Newcomer Serving Organizations. We have been around since 2016 when 2 other organizations amalgamated, one that represented the settlement sector and one that represented the language sector. We represent over 70 organizations all over Manitoba that provide services to newcomers.
Steve brought this to my attention, a really cool virtual event that is taking place on November 2nd and November 16th. Beyond the Perimeter. So who would like to go into a little detail about what this event is all about?
So Beyond the Perimeter is organized through MANSO and with settlement service providers like Regional Connections. And a big component of it is to just help raise awareness about some of the job opportunities and living opportunities in rural communities in Manitoba around the province. People outside of those communities don't always realize what kind of jobs are available, what's available in the towns. And sometimes those opportunities might be a good fit or a good opportunity for newcomers who are already living in Manitoba, in Winnipeg specifically. So somebody might be looking for, a really good permanent job in Winnipeg, or looking for good housing in a safe neighborhood, that kind of thing. And there are good options in Winnipeg, and there are also lots of good options outside of Winnipeg, but there's often a disconnection there and awareness of what's outside of Winnipeg. And so this event aims to help kind of bridge that gap, so people know if they're looking for work, looking for a good neighborhood, to raise a family, that they've also got some choices and there's some opportunities outside of Winnipeg.
This is the 3rd time that we have a Beyond the Perimeter event, and the second one that we have it online. The first time it was before the pandemic started. New Journey Housing and MANSO partnered with Portage Learning and Literacy Center and took a group of newcomers to Portage, where they were able to actually meet in person the settlement services that are available at Portage. And they met with employers, they got to see the city, where their children would go to school, etc. Now with the pandemic, we switched to an online format. And the previous rendition of Beyond the Perimeter online was in Steinbeck, where we got to partner with Eastman Immigrant Services. And now we're very excited to partner with Regional Connections to show Altona, Morden, and Winkler and all the opportunities that await newcomers that are looking for a nice, smaller city with a lot of services that are welcoming to newcomers.
Why is it important to hold events like these? Of course, it can't be in person, even a virtual event. What is the significance of having these conversations for newcomers to meet potential employers and find out about opportunities within these cities and communities outside of Winnipeg?
I think one of the most important reasons is just that as a sector, when we're working, we're always client focused and on the needs and goals of newcomers. And so if a newcomer family has needs and goals for career or for raising a family or things like that, and it's possible that one way to reach those goals, some of the opportunities are outside of Winnipeg and people aren't even aware of them. We want to bridge that gap and make sure people have a good chance to reach their own goals for their life in Canada. So that's really important. And it's a bit of a Manitoba dynamic, right? That there's Winnipeg and then there's not Winnipeg, and there's not always a really strong connection between the two. So that kind of just happens living in the province. And so we really want to try to help bridge that connection and the information and awareness.
Yeah, that's definitely something when you're living in Winnipeg. Sometimes you forget about the other communities.
Yeah.
But it's super cool seeing an event like this. So there's registration available on MANSO's website. How has sign up been so far, and how has reception been for this event in the past?
Well, the reception for the previous two events was very good. Obviously, the first one was a little bit more limited because there was a limited amount of people that they could take. But for the virtual event in Steinbeck, we realized that there were no limits. We could have as many people as they wanted. We had newcomers that were interested in learning more, but also people that support newcomers or naturally work with newcomers that were interested in learning what kind of opportunities they could have so they could share them. Sometimes when you're not from here, it's very hard to be aware of what is available outside of the city where you chose to settle. And many times newcomers want to settle in a more calm place, in a smaller place that resembles more kind of where they came from, a smaller city. But unless they know someone in the city where they could move, they don't realize that these opportunities exist. It's not like people that are born in Canada that you kind of naturally know about the areas around where you live and where you grow up. So this is a good opportunity for us to kind of bring them. We are that friend that they could talk to that can tell them, you know what, there's opportunities in Altona or in Morden or in Winkler. And for Steinbeck, we had a lot of registration, a lot of people that participated, many interesting questions for employers, for the settlement services, people that wanted to know how the schools would be like for their children, if there are opportunities for them to work, to improve their skills, to keep learning, to socialize, to meet other people from different cultures, etc.
What are those opportunities in the Morden, Winkler, Altona, Pembina Valley regions?
Yeah, there's a lot of job opportunity in the Pembina Valley right now. There's a pretty significant labor shortage, so many employers are hiring. If you drive down the highway between the towns, you see now hiring signs all over the place, and employers who are looking for workers. So they're in a wide variety of sectors. There's quite a bit of manufacturing in the Pembina Valley, which is unique for communities this size. There's lots of jobs in factories. There are a lot of healthcare jobs. There's jobs in education, and a whole variety of other sectors, financial services, and of course, retail and hospitality and food services. So there's a very high demand for labor right now. I think partly the region usually has quite a bit of immigration. There's quite a diverse local population. Regional Connections, we've worked with people from over 130 different countries. And so there's a lot of diversity in the area already. There's usually a fair bit of new arrivals coming every year. And the pandemic has definitely reduced that, and people's ability to immigrate and to come has been less than usual. And I think partly local employers have been feeling that labor has not been available over the last 18 months or so. So there are quite a few opportunities for people within the province who might be looking at moving here.
The diversity that can be found in these communities is super exciting. I know for Morden's Winterfest, and there's also a lot of cultural festivals that take place in many of the communities in the Pembina Valley. There are so many people of diverse backgrounds coming to the communities.
You know, we've worked with over 130 countries. There's Winterfest in Morden, and usually a Culture Fest in Winkler, and also a celebration at the Sunflower Festival in Altona that kind of publicly recognizes some of that. The city of Winkler also puts a new flag in City Hall every time they welcome a new resident from a new country, and I think they have over 80 there now at City Hall. And there's growing, for sure, we've seen that even in our work at Regional Connections, the growing diversity of clients we work with, and people coming from all over the world, from Philippines and India and Germany and Russia and Nigeria and Syria and countries just everywhere, pretty well every continent. There's people coming from now.
Speaking of opportunities, the Pembina Valley and many of these rural communities are some of the fastest growing communities in central Canada. I know hearing in the news a lot of conversations about how Winkler, Morden, Altona, all these different places are really developing and growing.
They have been, and that's one of the exciting things about living here that's pretty unique, that for communities this size, there's a lot of growth and kind of a lot of optimism and positivity. Some places, small towns, are not always growing. Sometimes it's the opposite. People are moving to the big cities and leaving the towns. But in the Pembina Valley here, it's a very quickly growing area, and that keeps kind of creating or snowballing the opportunities for everybody. As businesses are able to expand and grow, then clinics and hospitals expand, and new schools have been built, and more businesses open. One of the trends we've seen for sure too is newcomers starting businesses themselves and contributing as entrepreneurs to the community, and it just kind of generates more and more opportunity for everybody through that.
What are these virtual events what are they gonna look like? What can people expect when they sign up and click on that link on November 2nd and November 16th?
It's a very collaborative effort. So MANSO is hosting and helping organize, and we'll be there, have speakers at the event. Staff from Regional Connections will be able to speak to the settlement services available, so that people know when they, if they move or come to the area, that they'll be able to receive, settlement support and go to English classes and get help with job search and things like that. There's a local realtor talking about housing opportunities, 3 employers, one from each of Altona, Morden, and Winkler, speaking about the job opportunities, just kind of as a sample of some of the jobs. There's those jobs and there's many more in the area, but people will be able to hear directly and ask questions of the HR managers and hear about some of the jobs available. And a couple other Winnipeg service providers, New Journey Housing and Welcome Place as well, will be part of it, and talking about just how the whole process can work and how their services might connect people. So it's really the mayors of all 3 towns of Altona, Morden, and Winkler will be providing a welcome as well. So it's really a coordinated effort so that people who attend kind of get to hear from everybody and meet everybody who would be involved with something like moving to another town. So it's really neat opportunity for people to have that like first person contact with all those different people just all at one time in one place.
In terms of settlement services and immigrant services, MANSO helps facilitate these conversations and host them. How do you decide which organizations would be good partners for connecting to, have these conversations?
We as MANSO are the voice of the sector. We have a very close relationship with all of the organizations that are members of MANSO, whether they are regular members or friends of MANSO. Regional Connections has had a very close relationship with MANSO for a very long time. And we work closely. We're aware of the needs of newcomers that are in the area. And we're also, from talking to other members, we're aware of the needs of newcomers that are in Winnipeg that are looking for something different, more affordability in terms of housing, calmer neighborhoods where their children can play on the street, and that sense of belonging and of feeling welcome. Many newcomers come from areas that are very close-knit and they feel like a part of the community forever, and they're looking for something like that. So working closely with Regional Connections and other agencies outside of Winnipeg, like Eastman Immigrant Services, Westman Immigrant Services, or Portage, it's very clear to us that exists, and it's a very easy conversation. Our small center manager, Don Buddy, he works directly with all of the organizations that are located outside of Winnipeg, and it's a very close relationship and ongoing relationship of collaboration. So this is always in the talks. We're always trying to make sure that there are opportunities for us to showcase not only the services that they offer, but also the communities that they serve and the opportunities that are available to newcomers there. So I think it's only natural that when these opportunities arise, we already know who's going to help us and how we can kind of make it work.
What are the hopes moving forward for events like these, whether it's in person once we're finally out of this pandemic, a virtual, like a hybrid model? What are the hopes and feelings moving forward?
Because of the new normal, there's an idea that things are not going to be like they used to be. And something that we have learned from the pandemic is how we can all come close together using technology. But at the same time, we still miss being in person and being in the same room and having a conversation over coffee and discussing things. So something we have discussed in the future is perhaps combining the two, having in-person Beyond the Perimeter events where we can actually take newcomers to other places around the province so that they can see in person, discuss, take a look at the city, get an idea of where they could live, where their children would go to school, but also retaining an element of connection online, perhaps having an alternating between online and in person so that people that are unable to take time off their day and go somewhere else can at least join an event like this. And something that Steve had mentioned, one of the organizations that is going to collaborate in this event, which is Welcome Place, they have a pilot program where they can actually take people to rural communities. So anybody that attends this event and decides, you know what, I think I could move to Winkler, or I think I could work in Altona, or I think my children would like to live in Morden, can connect with Welcome Place, and then they can take them free of charge to the area that they're interested in so that they can further explore maybe living there, working there, and moving there.
That's a really cool program. I think that's very useful. Finally, for both of you, is there any final thoughts that you'd like to share? Where can people find more information about Beyond the Perimeter? Where can they go to sign up? And where can they go to find out more about both your organizations?
I'll start, and then Steve, you can talk about your organization. To learn more about the event and in general about the organizations that are members of MANSO and the services that they provide, I invite you to visit mansomanitoba.ca. In the section of events, you can see our calendar of events, which includes both the dates that we will offer for this. We have November 2nd at 10 a.m. and November 16th at 6 p.m. Both events will be the exact same thing. So whether you're available in the morning or in the evening, you can join us and register there. And if for some reason you're unavailable on both days and can't join us, you can still connect with MANSO and you can connect with Regional Connections. You can find contact information on our website. We have a directory with all the settlement serving organizations across Manitoba. So visit us on our website, find us on Facebook. We'll be happy to engage and direct you to our members that are able to help you.
Yeah, for sure. And for Regional Connections, people can check out regionalconnections.ca is our website, and shares all the services that are provided. So newcomers in Winnipeg, for example, will often be very familiar with a settlement service provider, whether they're at Welcome Place or Immigrant Center or something like that, maybe also employment services or an English language class they've been attending. So they'll see on our website that we have all of those services here through Regional Connections as well. And they're very similar services through the same, type of funding and supports. And so the same type of supports people are familiar with for settlement, employment, language, and also a big area of focus for us is helping people make community connections and meet people in the community and facilitate that kind of inclusion and connections that people really feel at home in the community. And all the information for that is there on regionalconnections.ca, and people are welcome to call or email or drop by and meet us anytime.
If you have any stories you'd like us to share or communities we should highlight, leave a comment or reach out to us on our website. I'm Ryan Funk. This was U Talk, and have yourself a good one.